You're listening to the Red Book Show on Wexford New People's Movement Radio. We're here in the bunker in Red Books, a second-hand bookshop in the metropolis of Wexford town. Wow, it's just unbelievable. Couple of events coming up in Wexford this week. We have a new event here in Red Books in St. Peter's Square on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Dumb Songs features Fikra Lennon, Cy Schrodner, and Mark Jordan, and it promises to be live electronic music and deep listening. So if you're around, call into that. We have a book launch in Red Books Underground in Eclectic Avenue on Friday night at 6:30, and that's Pieces of the Puzzle by Michael Smith, who is a member of the British Empire, just like Tony, our Director General. So that Tony will be down at that one.
Yeah.
So we're going back to a regular feature in the show now, and we're joined for this part. We're going to be doing a full interview with him later in the show. But we're joined by Shane Hurley, proprietor of Nerd-up. So Shane, you were telling me off here that you were listening in to the Red Book Show last week and you enjoyed our first book mystery, which was about the death of Edgar Allan Poe.
Absolutely, lads. Thanks for having me on the show. I was blown away by the lack of knowledge I had about Edgar Allan Poe and the end of his life, and of course the mysterious circumstances that surrounded him, just like much of his fictional work.
Absolutely. Well, thanks. Well, to follow up on that, Shane, we have another book mystery this week. And we have an intro for it now. Steve is going to sing the theme song for this because Spotify keeps banning us for using copyright music.
Well, is this going to be the Murder She Wrote theme? Or what?
Yeah, well, let's try the Murder She Wrote and I'll pretend I'm typing at the
Oh
same
God,
time.
I can't even recall it.
So tonight on Book Mysteries, we're going to do The Disappearance of Agatha Christie.
It's a mystery about a mystery writer.
A mystery about a mystery writer. So close your eyes, dear listeners, and take yourself back to Friday the 3rd of December 1926. Agatha Christie, pretty famous at the time, already a couple of successful detective mysteries under her belt, kissed her daughter goodnight, got into her trusted Morris Cowley, and drove off into the night. The next day, the car was found abandoned near a chalk quarry, triggering a nearly 2-week-long police and public search. She was found 11 days later, checked into a hotel in Harrogate under the name Theresa Nail. She appeared totally unaware that she was in fact Agatha Christie, and was even heard commenting about a front page story, which included a picture of herself, about the disappearance, as that silly woman on the newspaper. Agatha Christie never gave a full explanation and skipped the incident in her autobiography. So, are you aware of this mystery, Steve?
I am aware of it.
No, wasn't aware whatsoever.
It's an interesting one. It's a really interesting one. 1926 had been a very bad year for Agatha Christie. Her beloved mother, who she had a deep relationship with, had died. Her husband Archie, who she had married just before the First World War and then had a child with, but they may not have known each other that well, he refused to attend the funeral or offer any emotional support to Agatha. A couple of weeks later, he then told her he wanted a divorce as he was busy sleeping with his secretary, Nancy Nail. Now, keep in mind that name.
Yeah, there's a clue.
So there's a lot of theories. There's a lot of wild theories out there, and we're going to go through a few of them. Just what happened to the mystery writer. So one of the theories that's pushed a lot is that Agatha Christie entered into a fudge state, a rare condition brought on by deep trauma and depression. Fugue. So it's not fudge.
No.
Fugue state. Psychogenic amnesia results where the brain shuts down but keeps basic functions. So she would appear very normal to people in the hotel where she was staying, and would be completely unaware or worried about how she got there or who she was. Now, it's a bit far out. Not many people suffer from this condition, and there is certain reasons why it doesn't seem to apply here. The fact that she uses her husband's mistress second name, the fact that she somehow managed to find clean clothes and money after the crash, and the fact that she found herself in Harrogate, which was a train journey away. Now, the second theory is that she wanted revenge on her cheating husband Archie. Did Agatha Christie try to frame Archie for her murder? She was a mystery writer. If anyone could do it, surely she could. She left her car by a quarry near a deep pool where the police spent a lot of time draining. And for a long time, there was a lot of suspicion in the media on Archie. Agatha Christie sent letters to Archie and his brother. Both letters were destroyed, leading to a lot of suspicion. And she was a mystery writer and was familiar with how investigations worked.
I think number two theory is probably the most valid.
How about we do out of 10 on each of these theories? So what about number one on the folk state?
All right, the out folk state. I think that has to do if you have a very deep trauma or something that happens like immediately after you can enter some kind of fugue state. But honestly, my gut instinct is her listening is that it's a load of bollocks. She knew exactly what she was doing, I would say. Like.
So what would you put that out of 10?
The fugue state? 0.
0 out of 10. What about you, Steve?
Oh, I'll give it a 1 or 2, just a token 1 or 2, but I don't
1 out of
believe
10.
it.
I'm gonna be a bit kinder and give it a 4 out of 10.
Yes.
Now, what about the revenge on Archie?
I think, Shane, you want to go first?
Sure. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't hear this one being mentioned, like, but.
Well, we have a lot more theories.
Okay, so I think the most likely one that when I was listening to you talk about this was she's a mystery writer and everything like that. I think like maybe a part of her just wanted to escape, like just one of her
Well,
books.
that will be one of the later theories.
And there's nothing sinister going on. She doesn't want to frame anyone for murder. She just wants to escape into a kind of a make-believe world, you know?
Give us an out of 10 on this one.
On her...
Revenge on Archie.
Revenge, I would say 3.5.
3.5 out of 10. Steve?
Oh, I'm going to give it much higher, not all the way to 10, but I give it a 6. I give it about 6.
A 6 out of 10.
Yeah, you know, Occam's razor says, you know, look for a simple explanation for this, and that's a simpler explanation than the first one.
I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. So, theory number 3. Could this have been all a publicity stunt? Agatha Christie sold books before the disappearance, but this incident turned her into a mass hit, especially abroad where she wasn't really well known at the time. And her publishers even ran sensational joint ads for the missing novelist Agatha Christie, which they put all around the country. She was about to release her new book, The Blue Train, and her brother-in-law even sent a copy of The Blue Train to the police, convinced that it held clues to her disappearance. The police were convinced too, and they wasted days on this dead end. And in the end, it turned out that they didn't even have the right manuscript. It was a book that she had already brought out that they actually had. So what do we think? I mean, there's no doubt whatsoever that this turned her into an international hit. Today, she's recorded as one of the world's greatest selling novelists with 2 billion books sold, just behind the Bible and Shakespeare in total book sales.
I don't think she could have foreseen at that time that was going to happen at that level, because I don't think it had happened at that level. Again, I would think that like people are probably thinking too much into it. If it was a publicity stunt, though, just a side note, fair play to her, because she did a pretty good job there.
Yeah. So what would you think out of 10?
Like one, honestly.
Steve?
I'm going to give it a 2. The reason is because in situations like this, especially when you start to go into a conspiracy, the more people that you suspect are involved in cooperating in the conspiracy, the less likely it is to be true. And I agree with Shane that she didn't know what the end result of any of her activities or decisions was going to be.
I'm a cynic, so I'm going to give a 6 out of 10. So, number 4. Could this have been a suicide attempt? Agatha Christie crashed her car near the edge of a quarry. Was she trying to drive over the quarry, and was it a failed suicide attempt? Did she lose her memory from concussion? Afterwards, when doctors did finally get to her, they did say there was a lot of evidence of concussion, and that has become the kind of standard belief that she did suffer from some sort of amnesia brought on by concussion.
Well, that sounds kind of more likely, like, I mean, or at least more plausible. If she had actual head trauma and she did actually crash a car, like, this is all facts. I mean, that one's actually possible. There's not much of a conspiracy to do with that. I mean, nobody really knows what was going on inside her head, but yeah, listen, that could have been a lucky escape for her if she actually tried to do it, got concussion, and that led her not to do it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one.
It's still interesting how she would have managed to get money and clean clothes and find her way to Harrogate, though, after all of this, because she left all her belongings that she took with her that night in the car. What would you give it out of 10?
3.
3 out of 10. Steve?
2.
2 out of 10. I'm going to give that a 2 out of 10 as well. And number 5, something that Shane has already touched on. Maybe she just wanted to vanish. She wanted an escape. A divorce will be blamed on her. At the time, I think just a year before, England had legalised the right for a woman to seek divorce. But, I mean, she was the one who was betrayed. She would be probably blamed in society. And maybe that's the reason she adopted the name of her husband's lover, Neil.
I'm going to give this about the same probability as the revenge theory. So I think that was a 6.
A 6.
Yeah.
What do you think, Shane?
I think this is by far the most likely thing. Yeah, do you know what? I kind of can understand it myself. I'll give this one like a 7.
A 7, and I'm going to give it a 6 as well. It's pretty plausible. Number 6, possibly not as plausible.
Aliens?
Maybe she was testing a plot, and this was all research. She was a mystery writer, and some sources say she resented law enforcement, thought they were buffoons.
That's a 0 for me.
Yeah, I'm a 0 on that one too.
0 out of 10, 0 out of 10, and I'm going to give it a 1. Number 7, we've touched on it, amnesia. She may have struck her head in the crash. Doctors reported this at the time, but how did she manage to complete the complex journey to Harrogate?
Well, I mean, you can have amnesia and not know where you are, but you can still walk. You still know how to walk. You know what I mean? You still know how to open a door, and you know, if you have money in your pocket or I don't know, a way to get money, you still know how to do it. You just don't know what your name is sometimes and how to do it. So that one's a bit like more likely to me. That's like, I don't know, 6.5.
6.5. Steve?
Well, I think that I'm not as big on this one, but I will say that the amnesia theory she's a mystery writer, right?
Yeah.
So detectives are looking for who the suspect is. A lot of times they have a cover story to cover up what the real story is. And maybe she had some sense of embarrassment or humiliation or whatever it was. So she wanted to be out of the responsibility or the judgment of people, because she's obviously a brilliant woman. She wouldn't want society to judge her. This is a great way to escape judgment. You just had amnesia. Well, you can't be responsible for what happened after that. So I don't think that's the real story, but I think it's a likely cover story.
So what are you giving out of 10?
Out of a real story, I'd give it a 1 or a 2.
Okay. And I'll give it I think I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Number 8. Archie and his brother conspired to make her disappear. Maybe via drugging to avoid public embarrassment. She was completely incoherent when she was found. Not incoherent, but she had no idea who she was. And it may have resembled somebody who was being drugged. Were they trying to move her out of the way until Archie could get the divorce across the line and move the mistress in?
That's a really bad way to go about doing it. It was the time, like, I mean, that's kind of like some B-movie type, like Hallmark Channel plot. Like, I'd say that's a 0 for me anyway.
Boy, that's so much input
10.
for almost 0 output, you know.
Yes.
It's just a lot of work for no reason.
Okay.
So I'll give that one a 0.
I think I'll have to give that a 0 myself. And the final one. Agatha Christie was a mystery writer, and she really wanted to know if the public could solve a real mystery, and they failed.
Oh Lord.
A 0 again.
That's a mic drop one. That's a mic drop.
Yeah, that's not what happened in my mind.
So we're going to say no.
No.
0. Well, according to this, we have solved the mystery. We're saying that she wanted to vanish. She wanted an escape.
And she
You
did-
heard it here first anyway.
You heard
So
it
you
first.
Put this to
Forget
bed.
about it. Like at the time, 15,000 people, police and the public, searched for Agatha Christie. It was a global media frenzy. Sherlock Holmes even took part. Well, not the real Sherlock Holmes because he
Yeah.
doesn't exist, but Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So Sir Arthur Conan Doyle got one of her gloves and then promptly went to a psychic and asked him could he find him, and obviously he didn't. Fellow mystery writer Doherty Sayers also investigated the crash scene and discovered nothing. They even got Agatha Christie's dog to go down to the scene, and the dog just started crying.
Stop, will you?
So afterwards, Agatha Christie had to avoid the media frenzy, so she took a trip on a certain train, the Orient Express,
yeah.
which led to probably her most iconic book. But there you have it, listeners. You've heard it here first. Myself and Steve Unicky and Shane Hurley have solved yet another literary mystery, the disappearance of Agatha Christie.
You're welcome for that. Now.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of text messages in. John Bird says, I think her and Amelia Earhart flew off together to live on an island in peace. Hercules Poirot was flying the plane while they partied in the back. That's sounds like a good film, and maybe another Hallmark Channel one. Talking about the Hallmark Channel listeners, and maybe you can text in. Do any of you remember True Movies? I remember watching True Movies one night, so I must have been drunk or something. But On the Beach came on, and if, for those of you who aren't familiar with the plot of On the Beach, a great book by Neville Shute, it's about the end of the world following a nuclear war. And this was being broadcast at 8 o'clock at night on a channel called True Movies. So that pretty much sums up those kind of Hallmark and True Movie channels. We also have another message from John. Fudge State, Wally, laughing face, laughing. Listen, I like caramel, okay? That's just
I like
the way.
how you were corrected on it, and then you went from fudge to fug.
Now, listeners, the part of the show that you've all waited for, and I know that the only reason Shane agreed to come on, it's time for Steve's crack karaoke. Steve, what are we doing tonight, Steve?
Jesus.
I've got a story to tell here. We're going to do Warren Zevon's Werewolves of London.
Oh,
And
wow.
this Warren Zevon and I have sort of a history together. I first discovered him in the late 70s, and when I heard the album Excitable Boy, that was pretty big for Missouri, okay? I couldn't believe somebody actually released some of these songs, and to me, I latched on to them early on in my life because they seemed to express some of the anger I had and the feeling of absurdity of life that I had, and here he was out there he was voicing it for me. Now, later on, Warren and I, we kind of moved through life and made the same decisions at the same time. For example, we both, for different methods, we both stopped drinking at about the same time. We grew up, and I grew to really, really appreciate him for his songwriting abilities, which were just huge. And anyway, this became one of my karaoke classics to do Werewolves of London. And I was at a political conference. It's too long a story to tell, but I was at a political conference in 2003, and Warren Zevon had announced that he had a fatal disease, cancer of the lung linings, and he was going to die. So I did a tribute version of Werewolves of London for him. And in attendance was Senator Byron Dorgan of North Dakota, and he said my version of his song frightened him. He said, "That was scary." So I frightened a U.S. senator with my version, and I don't know if my version tonight is going to be the same. But since I've learned it's not so hard to frighten U.S. senators after all. But anyway, I'm ready to take this one on. So I'll do it sort of right off my phone here. So are you guys ready?
Well, we're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. Saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand, walking through the streets of Soho in the rain. He was looking for the place called Lee Who Fucks. Gonna get a big dish of beef chow mein. Yahoo! Werewolves of London. Yahoo! Yahoo! Werewolves of London. Yahoo! Hear 'em howling around your kitchen door. Better not let 'em in. Little old lady got mutilated late last night. Werewolves of London again. Yahoo! Werewolves of London. Yahoo! Yahoo! Werewolves of London. Yahoo!
South Australia are quaking in their boots, lads.
He's a hairy-handed gent who ran amok in Kent. Lately he's been overheard in Mayfair. You'll stay away from him. He'll rip your lungs out, Jim. I'd like to meet his tailor. Yahoo! Werewolves of London. Yahoo! Yahoo! Werewolves of London. Yahoo! Saw Lon Chaney walking with the Queen, doing the Werewolves of London. I saw Lon Chaney Jr. walking with the Queen, doing the Werewolves of London. Saw Werewolf drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's, and his hair was perfect. Ahoo! Werewolves of London. Ahoo! Draw blood. Woo! Werewolves of London.
Ahoo!
Yahoo!
Well done, Steve.
Well done, Steve.
Well done. Well done.
I don't know about scaring senators, but I know South Australia are definitely cracking in their boots after hearing
Yep,
this.
thank
Well,
you. Yep.
You've just been listening to Professor Steve Unicky,
Believe it or not.
Ahoo! on radio. We have a message in from Sarah. I've never taken LSD, but I feel like I haven't missed out now.
I think Steve might be in a fugue state, let's be honest.
Thanks for that, Steve. Now we're going to have a bit of music now, even though that was some great music there, Steve. But now we're going to have a song from Thomas Byrne, and it's called Homeless.